He told me he was going on a solo healing trip. Left me with the kids and a broken dishwasher. A week later, a friend sent me a video from Mexico, him on a jet ski, arms around a woman I'd never seen. I confronted him when he got back. He said, "You were the layover. She's the destination." I nodded,
Said nothing.
but the next time he opened his bank app.
I'm 38.
Mother of two. I live just outside Fort Collins, Colorado. Suburbs. Nothing fancy, but we've got a decent little house with peeling paint and a dishwasher that's been broken for months. My husband, or whatever you want to call him now, is 39. He works from home, runs a digital marketing thing for local businesses. Likes to think he's enlightened. Meditation apps, breath work, bulletproof coffee, all of it. We've been married 11 years. I met him when I was 24. I thought he was different.
Deep.
He talked about philosophy and the stars and growing together. What I didn't realize was that he liked the sound of his own voice more than anything else in this world, especially when it came with applause. The last couple years were rough. He got distant. I figured it was stress, burnout, middle-age stuff. I tried. I really did. I picked up more hours at the library, made sure the kids were taken care of, kept things going at home. Meanwhile, he spent more and more time on personal growth. Then one morning he told me he needed time away. Said he was losing touch with himself, that he needed space. He called it a solo healing trip. Said he was going to Sedona for a week. Do some hikes, sit with his thoughts, journal, disconnect. No contact. Just nature and soul-searching. I didn't fight it. I was too tired, emotionally drained. I just said okay. Told him I hoped he found whatever he was looking for. He left the next day, gave me a kiss on the forehead like I was one of the kids, and walked out the door. Day 4, I get a text from Danielle. She's a friend, works ground crew for an airline. Attached was a 15-second video. She didn't say anything, just sent it with a bunch of question marks. It was him, my husband, shirt off, grinning like a fool, on a jet ski in Cabo San Lucas. Arms wrapped around a woman in a neon green bikini.
Young.
She looked early 20s, maybe mid. He kissed her shoulder. She kissed his cheek. I watched the video 5 times. I didn't cry. Something just went cold. I put the phone down and stared at the wall. I sat there for almost an hour, listening to the kids playing in the next room, just feeling this growing silence inside me. Like something cracked wide open and let all the noise out. When he got back 3 days later, I didn't say anything right away. I let him walk in like nothing happened. He had some weird handmade pottery thing in his hand, said it was a gift from a healer. He kissed me. I let him. My stomach turned. After the kids went to bed, I showed him the video. Played it on my phone and watched his face. Nothing.
No panique. No jam.
Just a shrug. Then he looked me dead in the eye and said it. You are the layover. She's the destination. I nodded.
Didn't cry.
Didn't yell. I just stood up and went to bed. That night, I stared at the ceiling and knew something inside me had changed for good. I wasn't going to be the quiet, patient wife anymore. I wasn't going to be the one holding the house together while he played guru with girls young enough to call me ma'am. No more fixing. No more begging. No more hoping. It was time to burn everything down. He's sloppy. Always has been. Same password for everything. Our kids' birthdays. I'd watched him type it in 1,000 times. And he never logs out. Not on his phone, not on his laptop. That night, while he was snoring on the couch, like he always did after flying, I opened his banking app. Not just our joint account. His business accounts too.
Stripe.
PayPal.
Coinbase.
Venmo. I got into everything. And oh my God, it was worse than I thought. $12,000 wired to someone named Valeria S. Charges from resorts in Cabo and Miami. A Cartier bracelet receipt for $2,400. Multiple Uber rides to an address in Boulder we used to rent from friends. Screenshots of flirty messages, hotel receipts, even a note in his phone with her birthday and gift ideas. He didn't just cheat. He used our money. Family money. While I was here washing dishes by hand and patching the roof with sealant I bought from the hardware store on sale, I started taking screenshots of everything. I created a folder on my desktop and labeled it Truth. It got worse. On Instagram, I found messages. He called me dead inside. Told her I'd checked out years ago. That I used the kids to emotionally manipulate him. She wrote back calling me a cow.
He laughed. I didn't sleep that night.
I just kept digging. The next day, I called my cousin Blake in Denver. He's married to a lawyer. She called me within the hour. Don't say a word to him, she told me. Not yet. Just keep gathering. And I did. For 3 weeks, I played the part. I smiled. I made dinner. I laughed at the stupid stuff he said. And in the meantime, I opened a separate checking account in just my name. I transferred half our joint savings there, completely legal. I was on the account. I got our tax records and copies of his business filings. I printed every bank transaction going back 2 years. I contacted my job and increased my hours. I found a divorce attorney in town and filed quietly, and then I created a fake profile. Used an AI-generated face. Blonde, pretty, young. Messaged Valeria pretending to be Jake, a guy she'd met in Tulum. She responded in 10 minutes.
She said she thought he was divorced.
He told her I was emotionally abusive, that I'd cheated on him. She believed him. Told me he was planning to take her to Costa Rica in August. Said she loved him. Said they were soulmates. I saved every word. Then I planned my move. It was his birthday soon. He loves his birthday. Loves being the center of attention. So I told him I was planning something special. Made dinner reservations at some high-end spot in Denver. Hired a sitter. Let him think I was doing it out of love. He walked into the restaurant all smiles. I handed him an envelope. He opened it. Read the top page. Divorce papers. At first he laughed. Is this a joke? I handed him another envelope. Inside, copies of the bank records, the messages, the receipts, a letter from my lawyer, and noticed that I was subpoenaing his business accounts for misuse of marital assets. He stopped laughing. I leaned in and said, "You said I was the layover. You never checked the runway. It's on fire." Then I stood up and walked out.
I didn't go home that night.
I checked into a small extended stay hotel across town with the kids. I'd already packed our bags. Quietly. Over the course of 2 days, I moved essentials into storage and prepped everything like I was going on a short trip. The kids thought it was a mini vacation. I let them believe that. The next morning, my phone exploded. Texts, voicemails, missed calls. Him. Where are you? We need to talk. Him. You overreacted. You always overreact. Him. You're really doing this? Over a misunderstanding. Him. Come home. The kids need both of us. Him. This is going to destroy everything. Think about what you're doing. I ignored every message. Then he started calling my mom, my brother, even Danielle. Told them I'd snapped. Said I was having a breakdown. Said I was trying to take the kids away in the middle of the night and that I was being irrational. My mom almost believed him. For about an hour. Until I sent her everything. Every screenshot. Every video. Every message from Valeria. The receipts. The lies. The part where he said I was the abusive ex. She called him back and told him to lose her number. Then things got worse. 3 days later, I got an alert from my bank. Someone had tried to access my new account. They failed, but it triggered a fraud lock. When I called the bank, they told me the IP address was linked to my home Wi-Fi. He was trying to drain me. He'd figured out I moved the money. And now he was trying to freeze me out. What he didn't know was, I'd already reported him. My lawyer filed an emergency motion to freeze our joint assets until the court could review. Since I had proof he used marital funds for an affair, and worse, had tried to hack into my personal accounts, the court signed off. Everything was frozen. He lost access to his business accounts, too, because like an idiot, he'd funneled all his personal spending through his LLC. And guess whose name he added to that LLC back in 2019 to help with taxes?
Mine.
So now I had standing to request a forensic audit. We were in community property territory. That meant everything was up for review, including every dollar spent, earned, or hidden during the marriage. He tried to intimidate me, emailed me from a new address saying I was being vindictive, said I was going to ruin the kids' lives, that I'd twisted the narrative. I forwarded the email to my lawyer. She added it to the packet. Then came the twist I didn't expect. Valeria reached out to me directly. Through the fake Jake account, I'd ghosted her after I got what I needed. But now she found me. My real profile. I guess curiosity got the best of her. She said she was sorry, that she didn't know he was still married. She swore she wouldn't have been with him if she had. I wasn't sure I believed her, but then she said something that stopped me cold. I'm pregnant. I asked if he knew.
She said no.
Said she'd been trying to tell him, but he ghosted her too after I served the papers. I didn't respond right away. I just sat there, feeling that cold silence creep back in. Because I didn't know if she was telling the truth or if she was playing some long game. But part of me hoped it was true. Because he deserved it. Back at the house, he started spiraling. Neighbors told me he'd been sitting on the porch every night drinking. The lawn was overgrown. Packages piled up on the porch. He stopped going to work meetings. The spiritual mask was gone. Now he was just a bitter, sweaty man in joggers who couldn't remember where it all went wrong. He emailed me again. Said he wanted to work things out. That he missed his family. That I was still the only one who ever really saw him. I didn't reply. But I was watching. Because this wasn't over. A week later, I got a call from his assistant. Well, former assistant. She'd worked with him for 3 years, part-time, mostly remote. Sweet girl, maybe 24, fresh out of CSU. I didn't know her well, but I'd seen her around a few times when she dropped off invoices or equipment. She sounded nervous. Sorry, Ms. I thought you should know something. He hasn't paid me in 6 weeks. I froze. What do you mean? He owes me over $3,000. He said his accounts were frozen, which I guess makes sense, but he also told me you were bankrupting the business on purpose. And I don't know, something about it felt off. I asked if she had any proof of anything. She paused. Then she said, actually, yes. Turns out she had access to his company files on a shared drive. She hadn't looked at them before, just used the folder for invoices. But when she realized he was stalling her and blaming me for his mistakes, she went digging. And what she found? Fake invoices. Dummy contractors. Payments to names that didn't exist. Transfers labeled web dev support and brand coach that actually went to Venmo handles tied to Valeria. In total, over $47,000 funneled to that girl over the last 9 months. It wasn't just cheating. It was fraud. I asked her to email everything.
She did.
I forwarded it straight to my lawyer. Now, we had grounds not just for divorce with cause, but for criminal charges if I wanted to push it. But I wasn't done. At this point, I had a new apartment. Still in town, not far from the kids' school. Nothing fancy, 2 bedrooms, clean carpet, working appliances. I bought some furniture secondhand, repainted the walls myself. The kids were adjusting. I told them Daddy was working somewhere else for a while. They didn't ask many questions. Just hugged me tighter at night. Meanwhile, he kept spiraling. More emails. More voicemails. One day, he even showed up at the library where I worked, standing outside like some sad ghost in aviators and a hoodie. I called security. He didn't try it again after that. Then one night, a blocked number called me. It was Valeria again. This time, her voice was shaking. She told me she'd gone to his place to talk. She needed help paying for a doctor visit. She said he yelled at her. Told her it was her fault his life was falling apart. That she was just a temporary escape. She said he pushed her. Not hard, but hard enough. I asked if she wanted to press charges.
She said no.
Then she said something else. He said I ruined his life. But you did. She hung up. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch staring at nothing, thinking how far this had gone. And I realized he wasn't scared yet. Not really. Not the way I needed him to be. He still thought he had some version of control. So I decided to end that. I filed a motion for full custody. My lawyer added every piece of documentation: his attempts to access my accounts, the fraudulent business activity, his financial instability, Valeria's statement, photos of the house in disrepair, video of him showing up at my work. We served him at his home. On a Sunday, during a Zoom healing session he'd apparently started hosting for cash. His face, when the process server walked in on camera, was priceless. According to the court clerk who processed the filing, he tried to file an emergency countersuit and got laughed out of the office. The judge approved temporary sole custody within 3 days. And that's when I dropped the last piece of the puzzle. I made a call to the IRS fraud tip line. Factual. Gave them his business ID number, names of the fake contractors, descriptions of the phony invoices. I didn't have to lie. I just gave them the truth. All of it. Let the system decide what to do. Because the thing about my ex? He always thought he was the smartest guy in the room. Always thought charm would save him. But charm doesn't pay back taxes. And fake invoices don't look so good under audit. I didn't hear anything back for 2 weeks. Then one morning, I saw a black sedan parked in front of the old house. 2 men in suits walked to the door. Neighbors said they had badges. He hasn't shown his face since. The day it all came crashing down started out quiet. It was a Thursday. I had just dropped the kids off at school and stopped by the grocery store. Nothing special. Eggs, sandwich bread, some fruit for lunches. I was standing in line at self-checkout when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail. I waited until I got to the car, then listened. It was his accountant. Hi, this is Sandra Perez. I used to do taxes for your husband, or ex-husband, I guess. I'm calling because I was just contacted by federal agents. I'm not sure what's going on exactly, but I thought you'd want to know. They're looking into his business. Something about financial misreporting and false contractor payments. Just giving you a heads up. I sat there for a long minute, holding the steering wheel, my knuckles white. It was real. They were going after him. 3 days later, he showed up at my apartment. I didn't answer the door. I watched through the peephole as he stood there, thinner than I remembered, bags under his eyes, beard scruffy. He was holding a plastic grocery bag. Inside was a blue folder and what looked like one of the kids' stuffed animals. He stood there for a while. Then he started talking, loud enough for me to hear. I know you hate me. I know I messed up. I lost everything. Valeria's gone. The business it's dead. I got a notice today. The IRS is freezing the rest of my accounts. I can't pay rent. I've been sleeping in my car. I'm not asking for anything. I need to see the kids. Please just let me talk to them. I didn't open the door, but I did record the whole thing, because we had a custody hearing the next week. And the court needed to hear the truth, not his version, the real one. In court, he tried everything. Said I weaponized the system. That I was vindictive. That I brainwashed the kids against him. My lawyer laid it all out in order. Proof of cheating, bank fraud, using marital funds for another woman, trying to access my accounts illegally, financial instability, statements from his own assistant, the clip of him at my apartment, rambling, desperate. Then the judge asked me one question. Why now? Why take it this far? I told the truth. Because for 11 years I kept quiet. I let him lie. I let him spend, cheat, run around. I believed if I just kept things together, it would all work out. But it didn't. He didn't just hurt me, he stole from our kids. From our family. From our future. And now he wants pity because he lost the house of cards he built on lies. The judge nodded once. Sole custody. No visitation unless supervised. Weekly drug tests. He was officially listed as a high-risk parent due to financial and emotional instability. He didn't say a word as they read the order. He just stared at the floor. A month later, I heard from Valeria one last time. She texted me. No introduction. He showed up at my job, begged me to take him back, told me I was all he had left. I told him to get lost. I'm not raising a man-child with a god complex. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. A few weeks later, I heard he moved in with his brother 2 towns over. Last I checked, his old clients had dropped him. He tried to start a podcast about masculine healing, but it never took off.
He's thousands in debt.
Can't open a new business account because of the IRS audit.
Oh.
And that jet ski girl? Turns out she was also seeing another guy in Mexico the whole time. A real estate agent.
Married.
He dumped her too. Perfect symmetry. As for me, I got promoted at the library.
Full-time now.
Benefits. I started night classes again, something I gave up on when we had our first kid. I'm working on a degree in information science. I've never been more tired in my life, but it's a good tired. The kind that comes from building something real. The kids are doing better.
They still ask about their dad sometimes.
I never lie, but I keep it simple. Daddy's not making good choices right now. When he's better, you'll see him. They nod. They don't cry about it anymore. Last week, my daughter helped me fix the dishwasher. Watched a YouTube video, handed me tools, even held the flashlight. When we got it running, she cheered like we'd won the lottery. That was my revenge. Not the court win. Not the audit. Not even watching him lose everything. It was standing in a quiet kitchen, soaked in dishwater, watching my kid laugh, knowing she'd never grow up thinking that being small and quiet is what a woman has to be to survive. He said I was the layover. Turns out, I was the destination all along. Just not for him. For me.